I'm your intrepid host, L.A. Marzulli. Welcome to Questions with L.A. This is a brand new show that we're doing. We aired it the first time last week. The response was great, and it's really fun. If you've got a question for me, and so far the queue is getting longer. It's questions at lamarzulli.net. Questions at lamarzulli.net. We'll get into your questions and so much more after a word from our sponsor. Visible signs of aging only get worse as we age because of a decrease in our naturally produced collagen levels. Folks, every decade our skin suffers from a 10% decrease in its available collagen supply, as well as a decrease in its quality. That means you'll have lost, get this now, 30% of collagen your body used to be able to naturally produce by the time you're 45, which is why you have to start supplementing collagen if you want to keep your youthful glow. In the next minute, I'm going to tell you how anyone can reduce visible signs of aging quickly and easily. After years of searching, the closest thing I found to a modern-day fountain of youth, and folks, I take this stuff every day, is called collagen. Collagen rejuvenates and renews your skin from the inside out with 5 supercharged types of collagen your body needs for youthful-looking skin. By boosting your collagen levels with multi-collagen, you'll help restore your skin's elasticity and thickness while reducing the appearance of wrinkles. Try it today, folks, risk-free for 60 days and for up to 51% off by clicking a link in the description box directly below or by visiting www.healthwithla.com. That's www.healthwithla.com. After placing your order, they will deliver straight to your doorstep along with a few added bonuses. It's a great deal. I take the collagen powder every single day. I drink a concoction of it. It tastes good. And you know what? I noticed the difference. I really do. Okay, so let's get into the show. Okay, folks, just so you know, I don't pre-screen these. I don't read them. So if you say something like, L.A. Marzulli, why are you such a doughhead? I will read that on the air, okay? But I also give away your email address. So be careful what you write, all right? But here's our first one. It's from Jason. Was wondering what your thoughts were on the Aztec and Inca Indians having been brought with them, having brought with the Nephilim as a food or slave labor source when the Nephilim were chased out of the Middle East. Interestingly enough that you should say that, there's a painting that shows, now am I positive it's, I'd actually have to go back and look at my records. I believe it's in Peru, but it also could be Aztec, but it's one of the two. And it shows these natives dragging a giant. They've killed the giant and they're dragging the giant. I used it in one of my films. I just don't remember. I'm leaning towards Aztec, is what I think it is. Yeah, in my opinion, they were there. As far as slave labor, we don't really know, but that's certainly a possibility. However, when we come into the mounds of the Americas, like the Great Circle Mound or the Octagon Mound or Cahokia, for crying out loud, this, in my opinion, is not Native Americans with digging sticks and antlers and primitive hoes and baskets. We're looking at some other type of technology. You get a couple of 12-footers working on this thing, and it's a game changer. A 12-footer could be, 1,200 pounds, for crying out loud. And you remember, they're part fallen angel and part human, so they've got superhuman strength. They're able to do things that normal human beings cannot. Great question, Jason. Thanks so much for writing in. Let's move right on. This is from Annette. Oh, this is great. I would like to get your thoughts. This is from Annette. And she writes, I would like to get your thoughts on the Travis Walton experience. Is it a legitimate experience? Having seen the movie, I would love to read a book if it is the real experience. Thank you and God bless. Annette. I actually sat down with Travis several years ago and prayed with him. His grandson was having some problems, and we won't get into that. But we prayed. He actually waited at a hotel room, I think, for like 3 hours until I got there. And then we sat down and chatted and prayed. And yes, I do believe that what happened to Travis is the classic abduction scenario. And that's It's legit, in my opinion. Everybody on his logging team took lie detector tests, so that's all true. What's amazing about the Walton experience is he gets to go through the ship, and he sees what can only be described as body parts. And this, of course, is the dirty little secret about the whole abduction phenomenon. Look, there are people that go missing every year and are never found again. Where's David Pallades when we need him? But David's got a movie out. He's talking about it constantly, and bully for David, because people go missing and they're never found every year in the national parks. So something is going on. I think the Travis Walton experience is 100% the real deal. Okay, let's move right along. And this is from John. L.A., in your humblest, honest opinion, what do you think the tree of life really was and the apple Eve ate? This is a really good question. Is there something more to the tree of life? Was there something more integrated with technology? Second question, are you a strong believer in self-defense, protecting wife and kids, and the Second Amendment? Probably can't answer that one on YouTube. I don't see why not. Let's answer the second question first. Yes, absolutely, I'm a believer in self-defense. If someone breaks into my home, I'm going to defend my family. I know when my first child was born, Corey, something switched in me when Peggy had a C-section. So the moment she came out, something shifted, and I realized I would lay my life down to defend my wife and my child. That had not been there until that moment. So I'm a strong believer in the Second Amendment, and I absolutely am on the side of protecting your loved ones. I mean, absolutely. I am trained with a weapon. What I mean by that is I took several gun safety classes, and we are armed. We don't run around with it. We don't brag about it. But I don't hunt, so it's basically for self-defense. And if everything goes down, I live in the Santa Monica Mountains, I would go hunting. But the first question, yeah, the tree of life. I agree, and I'll tell you, I was thinking about this the other day. Very interesting that you should bring it up, John. Something changes when they partake of the fruit. Something changes. Now, Eve is deceived. There's no doubt about it. And I wrote about this in the Cosmic Chess Match, and of course also Countermove, shameless plug here. But those books are important because of where they go. Eve is not taken aback by talking with the serpent at all. She freely converses. She's not going, oh my God, a talking serpent. She's not doing that. And we don't know, is this the first time or the 100th time that the serpent appears and begins to wear her down? We don't know. The text isn't clear. Conjecture, in my opinion, I don't believe it's the first time. I believe she's conversing with this thing over a period of weeks, months, years. We have no idea. The Bible is silent on it. So while we can't inject something into the text, we can certainly posit that, in my opinion, it was more than one time. The moment they partake of that fruit, something changes in their DNA, doesn't it? Something completely changes. They realize that they're naked. They sew fig leaves together, whatever they are, to clothe themselves. Something changes in them. Is this similar to the mark of the beast? The mark of the beast, in my opinion, will change your DNA. I believe when they partook of the tree of life, and I see your little DNA symbol here, John, and I agree. There's something a lot more complicated than what's in the text, in my opinion. Remember, it's thousands of years ago. They didn't know about DNA. But the Lord did, and the Holy Spirit did, and for whatever reason, he decides to leave that out. But I believe, and I lean towards your opinion, that something is going on here, that their DNA was changed, and they sided with the dragon. When they partook of the fruit, they basically sided with the dragon. And that's where the whole redemption plan comes in. And of course, the proto-evangelium, the idea of Genesis 3:15, your seed will be at war, at enmity. Your seed, the dragon's offspring, will be at war, at enmity with the offspring of the woman. So I hope that answers your question. That's some really deep stuff, and it's something I ponder and wonder about. But great question, John, and thanks for writing in. This evening, my wife and I watched your most recent upload on YouTube regarding the man who had been by 2 female hybrids. By the way, what was the deal about some of your words being censored in the video? I digress. If you say, and we've got to be careful here because we're on YouTube again, you can't say that word on YouTube. You made mention of something that I had not heard hitherto. You suggested that the coming apostasy might be the result of UFOs, UAPs showing up and causing many within the church to depart from the faith. I'm assuming prior to the rapture of the church. At least that is the way I took it. Could you elaborate more on this suggestion? Again, I don't think that I've heard this from you prior to, and I've talked about this a lot actually, DF, but let's continue. Is an intriguing thought suggestion. You've always said that when we go up, they come down. When we go up, they show up. This new suggestion, to my way of thinking, is much more serious and dangerous to Christians, both genuine and just professing. Here's the deal. We don't know. I was just on the phone with Mondo before we started the show. We don't know what the deal is here. We don't. Now, I've been saying for years, we go up, they show up. We go up, they come down. That may be exactly what happens. But if it's not, we've got to start rethinking everything. If they show up and the church is still here, it will cause, either way, whether the rapture happens and we go up, and what's left is, 1.5 million, 1.5 billion Christians. There's 2 billion Christians on the planet. How many are going to get raptured? Maybe 500 million? That's a lot of people. I mean, America, here in the United States, we only have 350 million people? Not everybody's going up. We know that. So globally, let's say 500 million people go up. That's a huge dent. That causes, shock waves, definitely. And then the so-called Christians, just professing Christians who are not born again and spirit-filled, what happens to them? There's where the great falling away would come in, the apostasia, the leaving of the church and believing the lie, believing in the strong delusion, believing in the great deception. I truly believe this, DF, that this is the revealing of the so-called extraterrestrial is a pivotal point in all of history. It will change everything and in a very dramatic way. If we're not raptured and they show up, that has huge implications. So either way, we're in for it. If we're raptured and they show up, we're not going to know, will we? We'll be in glory with him. Hallelujah. But if we're still here and mile-wide craft just appear over the cities of the world, then we're into some very interesting times. Either way, I continue to warn against this and do it almost every single day. The so-called revealing of the extraterrestrial presence is, in fact, the coming great deception. This is why we have 3 of our films. They're out. We're working on number 4. I got to tell you, folks, I'm a little depressed because sales are way down. And I understand that. People, we're in an economy where food or DVD, get the food, don't buy the DVD. But I know a lot of you out there can do this. And I would ask that you would support us. I mean, I'm not trying to twist your arm or, bang you on the head or whatever, but it would be great if we drive the sales up and tell a friend, show them to your pastor, bring your friends over. This is why we made the films. This is the most serious subject to Christians, because if I'm right, and I believe I am, it dovetails with everything in Scripture. And I'll stop by saying this. Jesus warns us that even the elect would be deceived if that were possible. So whatever this thing is completely unprecedented. Think about this. Men faint from fear from what is coming upon the earth. Paul warns us that Satan comes with all signs and lying wonders. Folks, what's coming is absolutely unprecedented. And if you watch the films, if you watch what I do here on our weekly UFO report, even with this question, you will not be deceived. You'll realize that these are not extraterrestrials from Zeta Reticuli. These are, in fact, the fallen ones masquerading as such. Okay, I think I've answered the question. I hope so. This is good. This is from Pink Neon. Okay, hi, Pink. Greetings from Manila. Wow. May God's peace be with you. Daniel 2:43 says, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. Since it is no longer undeniable that we have hybrids in our midst, and these entities are surely irredeemable, what does it mean when it says they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another? Thank you very much for all the efforts you are doing in order to awaken the people from the reality of what's really going on all around us. God bless and protect you and your family. That's from Lorna. Thanks, Lorna, for writing in. Really appreciate it, and God bless you too. They shall mingle their seed with the seed of men. This goes back to the Genesis 3:15 narrative, which is why if we don't understand Genesis 3:15, the seed, the offspring of the dragon, I just said it a few minutes ago, the offspring of the dragon will be at enmity, at war with the offspring of the woman. The proto-evangelium, the coming from the woman's seed is the Messiah. We know that. That crushes the dragon's head on Calvary. But in the meantime, remember, the book of Daniel was sealed up until the time of the end. Men and women will go to and fro over the face of the earth. Knowledge will increase. That's where we are. Knowledge increases exponentially. We now run to and fro over the face of the earth. Their seed hails back to the Genesis 3:15 narrative. It's not the seed of men mingling with the seed of men. That's not what it says. Their seed will mingle. They shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. The word cleave, this is from our good friend Jim Williamson, who alerted me to this. The word cleave there is exactly the same word used in the marriage contract, once again, that we read about in Genesis, where a man will leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife. There's that marriage contract. Well, there is no marriage contract with the hybrids now. Sperm is taken from the men, ovum is taken from the women. Hybrid entities are walking amongst us. They are soulless. They are soulless. And there is no marriage contract. They just take a genetic material and create these hybrids, in my opinion. So this is once again from Lorna, and I'm going to read this one too. Greetings, may God's peace be with you. Thank you. I'm not sure whether this question will be addressed. I would like to ask the question that no one seemed to be able to answer. What is the real reason why so many Christian leaders refrain and or refuse to delve into end-time prophecies? Neither do they give the effort to educate their flocks about the impending danger, which I believe is right before our very eyes, related to the aspect of the fallen ones. Well, Lorna, you're definitely awake. I belong to a Filipino-Chinese Christian congregation, simply tackle and or discuss topics for members' edification, obedience, faith, and so forth. However, no mention of how the flock can overcome a great deception that will engulf the whole world. Please enlighten me, sir. Welcome to the church. And I love the church, but we need to understand that many churches do not delve into this. I was just up at Yuba, California, by the way, and what I discovered there was the pastor and his wife are totally into arming their congregation as to what is happening. We're flown to different congregations, not many of them. Again, there's thousands of churches in Los Angeles. I've never been invited to one. So that's fine. I go where the Lord, look, when Jesus sends his disciples out, right, he sends them out in twos. My wife and I go everywhere together, all right? And he said, if you come into a town and they won't welcome you, brush the dust off your feet and move on. Have your peace returned back to you. Don't give out your peace. Well, I'm the same way. I go where I'm wanted. I don't, the Lord opens the doors in my life. I don't. People know how to get a hold of me. We have newsletters. We have daily shows here on YouTube. And, it's all good. It's all good. But I've never been invited to any church within the LA area in years. I think the last one was probably 10 years ago. So, 13 books, 23 films, and counting. It's okay. So and this is allowed to see in church, Lorna, where they really don't care. They won't talk about prophecy. My people perish for lack of knowledge. My people perish for lack of knowledge. Almost 1/3 of the Bible is prophetic. Many of those prophecies about our Lord's return and the coming chaos, which will ensue. And we're already in it up to our eyeballs. So I hope that answers, your questions. Okay. I have heard from someone who says she has been asked by the Alliance of the White Hats plus extraterrestrials, the Pleiadians, I know that they are fallen ones, that the med beds can heal anything and everything, as well as grow new organs, and on it goes. So I'm just going to say this about it, Becky. That's all conjecture. You know, all this stuff is swirling around the internet. You know what I do with it? I put it on the back burner because it's hearsay. I could write the same thing. So where are the witnesses? Where's the proof? There is none. There is none. And until there's proof, until we can vet something, you know, what's the point? You can write anything about anything. Let's continue. Do any of these, this is from Craig, do any of these Nephilim skulls show 2 rows of teeth? The Bible said Goliath has 6 fingers and 6 toes and 2 rows of teeth on the upper and lower. Let me say this, that yes, many of these skulls had 2 rows of teeth, specifically the ones in North America here, double rows of teeth, 6 fingers. That's all actually in the Smithsonian's own cataloging of some of the skeletons that they discovered. I've never seen double rows of teeth in Peru, but I believe that there are different genetic traits of these so-called Nephilim tribes. Anyway, folks, once again, shameless plug for the films. Please go to lamarzulli.net, lamarzulli.net. Order 1, 2, and 3. We've got sales going on. Invite people over. Give them to your pastors. Get the word out. Get the word out. This is the coming great deception. And we're on the 11th rung of a disclosure ladder. You've heard me talk about this. I'm not going to belabor the point. Anyway, if you've got a question, shoot us an email, questions@lamarzulli.net. Questions@lamarzulli.net. Thanks for tuning in on today's show, and we will be seeing you again next Thursday with another Questions for LA show. Thanks for watching.
They got their knowledge from the heavens.
He saw it, said, whoa, that's a UFO.
This orb comes up and it's bright orange.
I'm not wanting to make full eye contact with these things. But from what I did see when I did look at them, they're like they're soulless.
It was right directly above us right here, and then it started tilting and moving up like that.
All of a sudden I was being lifted about 3 feet off the ground.
It was going slow. I was walking right underneath it.